that Russell Wilson's calling Seattle Seahawks checks in a Denver Broncos uniform.
What?
For the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he's lost his mind.
Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about.
What did he just say?
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
Is that right?
Go Hawks. Go Hawks.
What is that?
There's a hawk in
We
the
don't
sky?
have any timeouts left. There's fucking 2 seconds left.
We're fucked.
Okay, thanks, Russ. Yep. Let's ride, Russ. All right, and everybody's doing a different play. Allegedly, that is happening right now for the Denver Broncos. Russ is losing his mind out there. He's using audibles from the Seahawks. The guys don't know the audibles. He's using code words, and the guys don't know. That was what Tyler Columbus said on 92.5 FM Altitude Sports Radio Denver. And obviously, they are the go-to for Denver sports coverage. I think is Stink on this particular channel?
I would hope so.
I think he's on the show. I think he.
$8 blue check. Don't trust him.
No. Well,
See, it's the
see,
opposite
do we
now.
trust people that don't get the blue check, or do we trust people that have, not that they have 8
No,
followers?
Stinks on.
Do we trust people that he's not Stink's
He's
rival?
he's on the fan, I believe.
Is this fucking Stink's rival here? Because I'll tell you what, Tyler Columbus, I listened to him deliver the quote, and then there was a guy with great hair above him in the video that I saw. He goes, I think it was the Colts game. And then old guy goes, you remember he put on arm sleeve immediately. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a great conversation that happened from Sports Altitude Sports Radio Denver here. Maybe Stink should think about.
Seriously.
Jumping
Come on,
ship.
Stink.
He's on 104.3.
I don't like that Stink's rivals are fucking very good. Okay, I would like to just have one particular person in each city that we're big fans of. Like whoever's writing against Kaboli, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
fuck.
fucked.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
Maybe put the pen down.
Maybe. Yeah. And pick up the booze because it's going to be a long time because we're pulling for Kaboli, and Kaboli's the authority over there. Now, I believe Double M writes against Kaboli,
Yeah.
who we are
True.
also a massive fan
Yeah, but they're
of.
buddies.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Madden has buddies. Let's go.
Yeah, it feels like Madden's a big trenches mentality.
Yeah.
We're talking about Pittsburgh sports conversation right now, and obviously nobody knows what we're talking
Mark
about.
likes Mark.
Okay, sweet.
And Mark likes Mark.
The Marsh.
Oh, a couple marks.
Okay.
A lot of
No
Marks.
Go to the
offense,
marks.
Mark. No offense, Mark Madden, who knows what
Right.
that means.
Right.
Nonetheless, this was a fucking incredibly insightful conversation. And if all this is happening, it's like, how? And what were the Seattle Seahawks covering up all this time? Was Russ really that much better at football when he was in Seattle? Has he fallen off? Darius, whenever you hear something like Tyler Columbus, former player in the league, talking about his sources, and he said, I wanted to make sure that I got this right. At the beginning of this, he says, I want to make sure I got this right before I just say it, because this would be a very
Huge.
egregious thing to say as somebody who used to play in the game, who people take respect in your words in there. He said, I wanted to get it legitimized. It has been legitimized. We're going into week 11. Do you think the Seahawks covered this up? Do you think he has fallen off? What do you think the deal is with Russ? And why has this gone so damn poorly, Darius Butler?
The film says he's falling off of a fucking cliff. Now, week 11, week 11 on his new team, him still making Seattle.
We haven't week 10, we'll say, because it hasn't happened in week 11.
Week 10 making Seattle checks. I'm not sure I necessarily believe that. But if you look at his film, his play is falling. I mean, just simple concepts, simple throws, his ball location. Everybody would have said a couple years ago Russ was at least 1, 2, 3 best deep ball thrower at least. But his play is just falling off completely. Obviously, he doesn't move the same, but he's not the same guy. I don't know what it is. It's alarming for him to be, because it's not like he's in year 17 or 18. Like, he's still a guy, he puts a bunch of money to take care of his body. He's doing fucking, high
Team
knees
$3
on
million
the,
bucks.
Yeah, he's doing that. So it doesn't make sense, man, at all.
I heard Matt Ryan wasn't as quick to the new offense as well, and potentially communication between he and the offensive line for pretty good time into the season. Alarmingly long, you wouldn't expect it, especially because you see Matthew Stafford go over to the Rams, and he talked about having a little bit of a learning curve and having to struggle with it, but it wasn't really as obvious as it was with I guess Russ here with Matt. It's not as easy just to pick up a new offense. If you think about Tom Brady going down to Tampa Bay, it wasn't until week 11, I think, when they played the Falcons, when the offenses really started gelling. But Tom's offense, Bruce Arians' offense, and what they're going to call what and how they're going to go about doing it. So it's certainly reasonable to think that that's happening and possible, but if you're a Broncos fan, you don't want to fucking hear that. Just like when I didn't want to hear that Matt Ryan couldn't figure out what the fuck everybody else was saying. Hey, Matt, figure it out.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Okay, stop wearing golf clothes, go to your house, lock yourself in your goddamn room, and learn what everybody's saying. I don't think it's as easy as that, because whenever you're in the game and something happens and you've been doing it for 12 years, 10 years, and immediately this comes down and you're trying not to think, right? You're trying to just react. You could see how that could happen. You'd hope it wouldn't happen this long into the season.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, even though Russ is, what he's doing on the field is one thing. Like Darius said, he's kind of falling off a cliff, fine. But, like, if he's doing all this high knee on the plane bullshit and his Team 3 shit, and he's getting paid $250 million before he even takes a snap with the Broncos, and he's watching all this film, like, how are you still messing up your own calls if you're focusing on all that shit?
Well, he's still got to focus on his body. What are you talking about?
No, on his body, sure. But, like, he's doing all that insufferable stuff, whether it be the high knees or keeping people up or
So something
not
you
playing
just
well.
something you just mentioned really makes me. I almost just lost a ball here. A lot of people tell me that was going to happen with how tight my pants are. I want to let you know. I understand that my pants are very tight. A lot of people talk about it. With the size of my calves, mostly my calves mostly are the problem. If I was to get bell bottoms, that's the only pants that would really be. Now, some of them are tighter than others. These are a pretty tight version of pants. It's not easy to find and that look good either, like a wider. I have a weird build. So I almost lost a kid there.
No fun.
But nonetheless, knock on wood. Let's hope wouldn't matter. Let's hope that wouldn't matter at this stage of the game. Let's hope in that whole thing. Shout out to Sam. Still pregnant. Still going through.
Yeah.
Still doing it. Hey, baby. Hey, baby,
Go on,
Sam. Not easy. Hasn't been easy. But let's keep it moving. Let's keep doing it. Him getting paid all that money before taking a snap, then sucking and being insufferable. You could see how other people on that team would be like, this fucking guy sucks.
Yeah.
This guy is the worst. We paid this guy all the money. How about this guy who's been here for 3 years, who has done this? This guy who's been here for 5 years, maybe. He's a linebacker or something like that, does special teams, does this. You're just giving this guy $200 million, and he doesn't know our offense. He's insufferable. He stinks. He's the face, and he's not a good one. So what are we doing? I can see how that could be a little bit.
If you're that defense, you
Yes.
think about that defense who has been – you talk about Derrick Henry not having a great game. Like, that's the defense he faced. And I don't know – I can't think of the last team who put up a good 20-something points on this defense. So I would be frustrated if I was on that side of the ball, especially knowing how much money was given to the quarterback. And it's not like counting another man's pockets or anything, but it's like, hey, you got to produce. You were brought here. You were the missing piece. Hey, we need a quarterback. That's all we need. We're, going to compete, and it hasn't been that at all. So
well, they paid him before he did anything, too.
Mm-hmm.
Paid him before he did anything.
Yeah, before taking a snap there.
And there's probably a lot of guys probably in contractual conversations with the Broncos, and they just pay this guy that's never been here. And let's assume he's liked by the locker room. I don't know. Have we heard that?
No.
No, and they haven't come out to support him while all these former players who played with Russ have just been fucking killing him in the media. Slaughtering him.
What's up? This whole Russell Wilson tale is really fascinating.
It's wild.
This is a quick
Massive turn.
I'd like to see him turn it around, man.
That stat came out too. That
his narrative or his on
His
football?
play. I mean, fuck,
good guy.
the
You turn your football
the
around.
narrative follows what you do on the football field. Just if you ball on the field, all that other shit will follow. So I think that's where, because you think about it, in Seattle, you talked about his Seattle stint. I mean, I felt like he was a good. I played against him when he was in Seattle a couple of times. Good football player, but his personality wasn't really talked about much because they were winning as a team. But as you start to losing, as things start to come apart, now it's like, this dude's he's fake. He's
he
this,
was a
he's
robot when they were winning, and it was like, yeah, that's what an NFL quarterback's supposed to do. Clear eyes, full
Go
hearts.
hard, can't lose.
He was saying that while mic'd up.
Yeah.
Remember the first time I saw his? I think first time I saw his mic'd up.
Oh yeah, that may have been actually one of them.
I was
where everybody was
dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's.
This real?
This is what's happening in games. And I just, as the punter, right, who's on the sideline a lot during games.
forgot about that.
I've been on a sideline. I've been on a lot of sidelines, okay? 8 years of them. So that means I've chatted with the D when they're on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
I've chatted with the offense when they're on the sideline. All the special teams guys, backup guys. I feel like
The
I've
coaches? You hear the
coaches
coaches?
bullshit with coach. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on sideline conversation. I feel like I do a couple different eras, couple different coaches, couple different regimes. Humans have changed while I was in the locker room. I feel like, and I'm a pretty conversational person. I feel like I enjoy that type of thing. His mic'd up, I thought was from a movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never heard that actually I've never heard that actually. Like how he's saying right there, is that all game every? I think I went on to a microphone the next day. I was like, I have so many questions. Like, is he actually doing that all game every game, or did NFL Films say like, hey, we're going to film you for like 5 scenes here in a real game, in a real huddle, and then we'll just clip out everything else and not show you being an actual human the rest of the way. So then they were having success, and we started talking about how, oh, remember we met Tim Tebow down in Atlanta, and we thought there's no fucking way this guy is the way he is. We hated him actually because we thought this has to be the biggest fugazi in the history of fugazi. I'm over it. I'm sick of it. We're done with it. I was at school at the same time Tim Tebow was at school. Pat White was at school at the same time that Tim Tebow was at school. I thought what Pat White was doing was fucking remarkable, groundbreaking, trailblazing. I understand there have been mobile quarterbacks in the past, but Pat White was fucking and the only thing that was being talked about, all ESPN, all Sports Center, every single, Pat would break a 75-yard fucking outrunning like 7 people, just gone. Then he would deliver a dime. The whole highlight would be Tim Tebow fucking talking in his post-game speech and his plays where he couldn't even throw a football. And these were like the highlights. And I'm like, I hate this guy. Yeah. Naturally, I hate this guy just because I have to, because the way I am. Then we met him in Atlanta. Everything changed.
Yeah, nicest guy in the
Oh
face
my
of the
God,
earth.
this guy's the best.
Yeah.
He is that human all the time. He was there for 2 hours. He shook everybody's hand.
Yeah.
Was down for whatever. So maybe he was being fake for 2 hours to us. He didn't miss a single second.
Nope.
Not
Yeah,
a
I
single.
don't think so.
He was fucking Tim Tebow
Yeah.
the entire time. And I was like, okay, I felt bad. I was like, man, I thought that a human like this couldn't exist in America. So I'm a little bit of a negative person. Normally, I'm pretty positive. I'm a negative person thinking that this human cannot exist in the same world that I exist. This guy fucking got to be fake. So that changed my way of thinking of people. So whenever we saw that Russell Wilson mic'd up thing, I was befuddled, but still had the Tim Tebow thoughts in my mind, about Tim Tebow. I think Russell Wilson was fake. Tim Tebow was real.
Wow.
I think they are not the same situation.
I'd agree with that.
I do believe that Russell Wilson was not always clear eyes, full hearts. I don't think that was the case. I think he's reading a script of what he thinks he's supposed to be.
Yes.
And there was a moment, I think, last press conference where he sounded like a human, and immediately upon him saying, I said, boom, oh, hey,
Yep.
Gotcha.
hey, that's out of script a little bit. And then I almost liked him. I'm like, do more of that. Like, just be a human. The whole Team 3, I think, and this happens with other professional athletes that have a team around them that think they need to be a movie character as opposed to being human. No, you can't tweet that. That's not what a top golfer would say. Oh, I'm sorry. Or a top football person would say. It's like, well, actually, you get to decide what the top person would say. I actually had this conversation with a GM who didn't like the way I operated. And I said, I get to decide what the best punter and kickoff guy in the game get to act like. You know why? Because I am him. Okay, I don't know how to tell you that. So like, I'm not following a guideline on how I'm supposed to act, how a punter's supposed to act. I'm fucking me. And if this is how others are going to act that are going to do that, awesome. If they're not going to act that way, cool. I don't have to follow any mold, And I think that is what happens when you get a team of people around you. Those people are telling you and guiding people to act how they think a movie character in said position would act. And they can fall back on being, I told him this is what he should say, and it's the right thing to say if you read it in a PR book or if you read it in an agency firm, like maybe, but that's a human that is there. That person gets to decide, not a fucking movie character that somebody's supposed to be. So I think everything went wrong when Team 3 became a thing.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because if you talk to Marshawn, or in that interview with Marshawn with Richard Sherman, he said, if I can't reach out to you, I got to reach out to your team or whatever. Was it always like that?
Yeah, that's wild.
Or when Team 3 got involved, was it? That's what I think is the problem. But Team 3 will say, no, we've told him all that. We've guided him in the movie, how the movie's supposed to be, as opposed to the real human. I think that's the problem with Russell Wilson. That's personally. That's
With like Tebow, it seems like whenever he was doing stuff, like the camera would find him doing stuff kind of just naturally. With Russ, it seems like he's always very aware of where the camera is. Like, so there's that situation, and then you remember when he was hurt, and he knew there would be a bunch of cameras out there, and he went out pregame and was doing all that bullshit, huddling up like when he was coming. Like he knew the cameras were
Visualizing.
gonna,
That was
exactly.
Monday night
And then
football
now
thing,
there's the stats going around too that if the Broncos had just scored 18, if they score 18 points a game, they'd be 8-1 or whatever. So I think.
Wow.
And also,
that was a
see
report
that.
on the
Wow.
internet. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
report on the internet from our guy Ryan Koenigsberg.
don't you think?
He didn't pay $8.
Don't